From Ozwater, please welcome Chad Sitton.
Hey, good morning, Springfield, and Thanks Summit 2020. I want to give you guys yourselves a round of applause, if you would. You are the road warriors for coming out on a day like today and being a part of this presentation. Big hand for Brad. Brad's doing great things with Paragon. I want to thank Lauren and Dale, too. The ladies helped me out tremendously getting ready to present to you all and tell the story of Ozwater. So, Ozwater's got a little bit of a backstory. Ozwater didn't start off as a water bottling company. That was not our intent. The intent was to grow a product called Feed the Orca. Feed the Orca is a biocomposter that we put into restaurants, event centers. We put it into naval ships. We put it into cruise lines. What it does is it accelerates the composting of food waste and paper products. This product we brought over, we reverse engineered it from another group that allowed us to, and we started distributing it. We put it in the Dallas Cowboy Stadium. We put it into the Hard Rock Cafe down in Oklahoma City. Had big success with it, but one thing that we found was the unit could not handle plastic. Plastic waste is something we all need to be focused on. We continue to fill our landfills with this product that is extremely durable. Plastics that we make today last forever, but we use them in the most disposable of applications. Science comes in. We were working on how do we handle all this extra plastic that comes at these events without having to put them into the dumpsters. So they said, oh, there's something coming right around the corner. Plastic right now is petroleum-based, or PET. The alternative is plant-based plastics, which you've probably all read about. This group is pretty well read, I'm sure. So you know what PLA is. It is plant-based plastics. Corn. So the oil market, commodity, is pretty steady. The corn commodity market fluctuates pretty rapidly. So we noticed that price of making a PLA plastic versus a PET plastic, there's quite a cost difference between there. And as consumers, we're just not quite ready to pay for that new technology. It's on the cutting edge. It's right there. We're about to get it to the point where it is more viable and more affordable. But it's just not there yet. So we started working with a group called NatureWorks. NatureWorks has a PLA plastic that can be blow molded. If you notice when you pick up a beverage, that bottle is blow molded. It comes in a little preform, and those preforms are put into a blow molder. It's blown to whatever the dimensions of the bottle that you want in the mold itself. So PLA can be blow molded, but PLA is real expensive. How do we get the consumer to pay a little extra for this new technology that we're trying to bring to the market to help with this plastic situation that we've got? Come up with a premium water source. So that's what the team did. We said, I was actually out of Dallas, Texas at the time. The team got together and said, you know, we think we can make this happen, but we need a really premium water source. So we engaged with a group called Waterbank out of New Mexico. And if I get too technical, somebody raise their hand and just give me this, because I'll keep talking about it. So Waterbank is the water professionals. They know where all of the premium water sources are throughout the United States. They gave us 5 options. We went as a business model and vetted those different options. We looked at what's the logistics capability from that? Can the source sustain a manufacturing process? Is there a way that this one community outweighs this other community as far as business viability? So what came to the top of the list was Springfield, Missouri. We said, we're kind of familiar with that. I was born and raised in Joplin. I know where Springfield is. Had no idea that Springfield has a premium water source. All right, educate me on that. We flew out to New Mexico. We sat down with these guys, and they started to educate us. So here in the Ozarks, we have the water table. Underneath that, we have an aquifer. Underneath that aquifer is something called the Eminence Aquifer. The Eminence Aquifer is 7 trillion gallons. It is one of the largest aquifers in North America. And that water that is in there is over 35,000 years old, untouched, uncontaminated, has natural electrolytes, it has natural calcium, it has all these other natural minerals that are good for the human body. And we said, this is amazing. This is actually the best situation we could possibly have. Springfield meets the logistics. It's a community that's up and growing. Springfield's exploding right now with the new convention centers and the new hotels and anybody getting ready to play at the Big Swing. Is that what O'Reilly's building? Big something golf. We're excited. I mean, they're doing big things, bigger than what we see going on in Dallas and Oklahoma City, Tulsa's, where we're from. So we were very, very excited about that. So we decided we're going to come to Springfield. What do? They said, the actual location is on a golf course. And we said, a golf course? We don't want to own a golf course. Why would we want to own a golf course? And they said, it's got a deep well on it. That's where we found this source. So the deep well is over 2,000 feet deep on Deer Lake Golf. Why did they drill it 2,000 feet deep? Who's looking for water? I mean, 2,000, they said they weren't looking for water. 40 years ago, they were drilling for natural gas and oil, and they accidentally hit water. And I went, oh my gosh, I remember this story. I cannot believe this. 40 years ago, Deer Lake drills this well looking for natural gas and oil. They end up hitting water. And at that time, the guy said, I cannot believe I spent the money on this. No one's ever going to pay for water. So as a community, do you guys realize that we are now paying more for water than we do fuel, right? And we know that. So we said as a group, how does this fit for us? And I said, well, I need to tell you a story. Deer Lake I've been there before, and I've tried that water. And when they said silky smooth taste, that's what reminded me. My grandfather would bring me up to Deer Lake, and he would actually, after we played 18 holes of golf at whatever event he was supporting, we would go and he would fill up a one-gallon milk jug off that. And he would tell me the stories about how we're blessed here in the Ozarks with amazing natural resources. He would tell me stories about how this water was 2,000 feet deep, and they knew it was old, but they didn't know how old, because they didn't know how to carbon date at that time. If they did, they didn't do it. We did, and it is. So he would tell me these stories, and it reminded me of a story that when I was in the Navy, 2 tours in the Gulf. When we were over in the Gulf, we were mine sweeping. Mine sweeps are not big boats. We had to make our own water. Potable water is what we called it. Anybody who's had man-made potable water will tell you it's not very good. As I was on board ship, I would drink this water and I would complain to my shipmates, man, this stuff doesn't taste like water. I grew up in the Ozarks. We have amazing water. It's not what this stuff tasted like. One Christmas, brought the boys back with me, back to Joplin. We drove up and actually drank off that. We snuck on, we did, to the Deer Lake Golf Course, and I let them try what deep artesian water tastes like. Everybody understands that artesian wells actually supply to the springs. The spring water is the buzzword that everybody looks for in water these days. So we went to the source so that we could handle the manufacturing and production process. We don't make Ozwater, we never claim to. We just package it. I'm going to show you a quick little video from KY3. They did a great job on covering us. Shout out to Nikki for everything. She's in the crowd. Hopefully she's in the crowd. Nikki and everything that she's done with KY3. Bear with me. It's about a two-minute video. Just that way you can see what we're doing over at Oz.
Some golf courses are known for their water holes that intimidate and frustrate golfers. But a local golf course might become known for its bottled water. Nikki Ogle explains.
Below Springfield's Deer Lake Golf Course is a well thousands of feet deep. When Chad Sitton learned about the natural water source, which he says is known as one of the purest in North America, it brought back childhood memories.
My grandfather used to take me to Deer Lake Golf, and we would fill up 1-gallon milk jugs with the water off of that deep well because there was a taste difference in it.
So Chad and his business partners decided to buy the golf course, not because they love golf, but because he loves that water and wants to bottle it and sell it. Now they're doing it, bottling Ozark's water, calling it Ozwater.
When you open a bottle of Ozwater, you're opening a product that really has not ever been touched or tampered with in any way. And it hasn't seen the light of day in 37,000 years.
Straight from the source, bottling, labeling, packing, and shipping, it all happens here. The on-site manager says that not only improves efficiency, but reduces the company's carbon footprint.
We set on a lot of inventory to reduce transportation emissions is what we do.
Dietitian Kathy Gardner says it doesn't matter where we get our water as long as we're drinking it.
Water is the main thing that we need to survive. We can live for weeks without food, but days without water.
Chad says the Ozarks has some of the best.
We're just trying to bring that back. Just go back with original virgin water. Not chemically treated, nothing added to it, just good water for the body.
In Springfield, I'm Nikki Ogle.
Ozwater is sold right now at Mama Jean's, Price Cutter, Classic Rock Coffee in
Shout out,
Springfield.
right there.
The company's
Shout out.
looking to set up shop someplace in Kansas City.
All right. Kathy, nutritionist in town, makes the statement, yeah, it doesn't matter where you get your water from. One of my guys comes to me and he goes, has she ever been to Mexico on vacation? Because I tell you, I went there, the water didn't kill me, but for 2 days I wish it would have. So there is a difference in our water. There is, when we were in New Mexico and we were talking with Water Bank, we got really educated. I was probably like most of you. I thought water's water, no big deal. And one of the guys that we were working with turns to me and he goes, that's not an accurate statement, Chad. He goes, when you go down to get your oil changed in your car, he goes, do you go to the mechanic and say, hey, can you fill me up with that used oil? Oh, water's our natural oil. Helps with cellular recovery. It helps with the body's natural 7.4 pH, and osmosis allows that lubrication that our body needs, the hydration for everything that we need. Like Kathy said, we can go a couple days without food, but you can't go that long without water. And the better water you put into yourself, the better you are for it. So, Artesian water, we understand what that is. Water comes from an aquifer naturally. It does. If we were to unplug our wellhead, the water would come naturally to the surface. At its source, it's 2,000 feet deep, 37,000 years old. What does that mean to us? Hey, it's before the Industrial Revolution. It's before we started to have issues with our lakes and streams having a little bit of man-made touch on them, a little bit of contamination. This water is untouched. We don't have to do anything to it chemically to adulterate it. We'll get into how we actually do process it to meet FDA regulations for human consumption, which is a whole nother situation, but we don't take away from the product. We don't make Ozwater, we just package it. So Oz naturally occurring 7.4, high levels of electrolytes to the world thirsting for something unique, untouched. Okay, in the plant. So you're gonna think, man, did he touch up that picture? No, I didn't. That water comes out of the aquifer looking like that. You ever been on the ocean? Crystal blue seas. You've been out on a lake that is just pristine. That's what good water looks like. And we don't have to do anything to it. We put in a manufacturing process. We do have to meet certain guidelines so that it is safe for everybody to drink, and we don't make any mistakes in the manufacturing process. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit. So this is the filtration system that we have. All it is a media filter. We run it through that media filter to make sure that anything we pick up from the aquifer is not sand debris, little rocks, anything like that. Runs back through a micron filtration to make sure that even the smaller particulates that made its way through the sand filtration doesn't make it into the UV light. The UV is that behind that good-looking guy in the hat is the UV light, and that is what kills all the maybe biologics that may be in it from the process of us bringing it up out of the ground and from the air. From there, it runs back over to that second tank. We call that our second tank, and we say that's where the magic happens. We call it our lightning in a bottle. We worked with a group called Norland for this manufacturing process. My partners and I, We weren't in the beverage business. We weren't in manufacturing. We were in logistics, and we were in logistics, and we were in commercial development. That's where we were at. Justin, our third partner that came in, was part of his parents owned a distributorship, and he has worked there his entire life, and he works for Budweiser. What's that got to do with water? So we'll get to that here in a minute. That lightning in a bottle is ozonation. So ozonation is where you add an extra oxygen molecule to your product. You add that for sanitation purposes. Ozonation is actually stronger than your household chemical bleaches, but it leaves no residual in it. It off-gasses. So what we do is we run it through that tank, we ozonate it. It therefore becomes everything that water touches is sanitized. The bottle, the cap, anything that the air that was in that bottle before. Ozonation wipes it out. But then, through science, 12 hours later, it off-gasses out of the bottle. So there's nothing left but that pristine water that came out of that aquifer with no contamination in it. It's very unique, very unique. So, I almost turned my laser on. So, we've got this pristine water source. We're making water. And we looked up and said, we got the best water in the nation. And there's nobody lined up outside our door to come buy it? What's the deal? Beverage industry. Huge learning curve for us. Not like any industry we'd been in before. What did help was Springfield, Missouri. Springfield, Missouri, geographically located, one of the best logistical locations in the United States. Absolutely phenomenal for being able to get our raw materials in, able to get our equipment in, able to get repairs on equipment. It is in the almost center of the United States. And it is phenomenal in supporting a new business startup. Springfield brings that as a real tool when someone is looking to relocate to this community. So the bottle, we've made the bottle product. We are trying to market it at this time. So we said, all right, how do we do that? So we reached out to a couple of industry experts, the IBWA, the International Bottled Water Association. These folks know bottled water. They are a great group. They came in, they helped us with all of our quality control. They helped us with our internal processes. They helped us with getting into meetings with decision makers in that market segment that is the beverage industry. One of the things they said that they had trouble getting into was specialty brands. Specialty brands was part of, well, I'm gonna throw a name out here, Justin's gonna appreciate it, Budweiser. So Justin and his family own a Budweiser distributorship. We reached out to Justin and said, hey, what do you think about Ozwater being a specialty brand? And he said, perfect timing. We have a bunch of bottled water companies who will remain nameless, because I'm not gonna name drop, that we are struggling with right now because of capacity. They can't supply us what we need, and the product itself is not as good as what they sold us on. There's a lot of claims in the water industry about our water has a higher pH. But I think we all know the higher pH doesn't really help us. That's not the way the body works. Ours is completely reverse osmosis. We take everything out of the water. Why would you take everything out of the water? We need the minerals that are in that water. We need that natural pH. We need that for our body's best me. Okay, Justin says, yes, let's do this. So we reached out to his group, started working with them, and guess what they told us? We don't like anything about you. What? Yeah, you've got a great water. Your bottle doesn't look that neat. Your label doesn't look that neat. You guys, your e-business, your e-commerce, who did that? It was me on a Saturday. So learn from your customer. The distributor knows what that customer wants. The distributor is your best resource in your business. Find out the guy you're selling to. Know what their needs are. Don't try to project what you want their needs to be. Find out legitimately, what are their needs? So they said, we want something that's cool, that's hip. We've got these millennials. They don't care what your water tastes like. They don't even care what the quality of the water is. They want something that when they go, it ends up on Instagram. And I was like, Insta what? Social media platforms, let's build them. I said, okay, we got to hire somebody in. Reach out to 417 again, found a great little group that's going to handle all of our social media for us. If you go to our website right now, you look at it on your phone, and you start going through it, and you're like, ooh, yeah, I can see what he's needing some help. We've got a great product. But do we have all the tools to put that product in the hands of the end consumer? That is where we're connecting the dots right now with Ozwater. So, right now, I know I gripe and complain. We're not out like I want us to be. But in less than 6 months, we're in 8 states. Those 8 states are representing 850 stores. And those 850 stores are starting to build that brand. Building that brand, what is the real goal of Ozwater? What do we want to do? We want to move into the biodegradable plastics. Don't ever lose focus of what your original intent was on your business. There's a lot of times when you start to grow a business that you lose focus on, why am I doing this? Give yourself the opportunity to remember where you came from. So, 8 different states, all very well received. The product is starting to grab its own momentum. Oh, and I just lasered everybody. All right. Oh, how do I back up? There we go. So, got this water, we've got this brand, we've got all kinds of opportunities that are coming up. Where did that support come from? Who do we have to thank? That's my next talking point. Don't forget to thank the people who got you where you are. The people who got us to where we are up here on this board, except for SMC Packaging. I forgot those guys, so apologize for that, guys. Springfield Chamber of Commerce. We first came in, we started meeting with them. We said, hey, this is our idea. They said, oh, we've got a huge resource here in Springfield. They introduced us to the Planning and Zoning Committee. They introduced us to the representatives for the EPA, the DNR. They introduced us to the folks over at the USDA. All these were meetings that we had to take. Starting a new business sounds fun. Sounds like it's just everybody wants to do it. Let me tell you from experience, 1,100 emails between those entities and myself. There was 36 meetings with the folks at Springfield to make sure that when we brought this business to Springfield, that it was going to be successful. Laying that groundwork, trusting the gatekeepers of this great city, your Planning and Zoning Committee do an awesome job. Funny story, we get ready, we buy our building, we've got it at the golf course, we're getting ready to do site work, and I get a notice from our general contractor that says, hey, we can't start construction. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, we just got a notice from Planning and Zoning. You guys have gray bats in your trees. I said, I got a gray what? They goes, you got gray bats and you got cave fish. This is July when we find this out, right? Where do these things come from? Well, they're in the woods. They're in the trees that you're about to push over to clear your site out there by the golf course. I said, oh, well, do we have to have them removed? No. You got to wait for them to migrate. Seriously, guys? They're like, hey, understand, you're trying to develop 15 acres, right? But we have sites that are hundreds of acres. The same rules that apply to everybody else apply to you. We said, oh, all right, well, let's just wait for them to migrate. When's that? November. July? November. All right, let's wait a little bit longer before we kick this thing off. Springfield Chamber of Commerce, phenomenal group to work with. I ask everybody in the room, if you get a chance to engage with them, do. There's a huge resource. O'Reilly Build. O'Reillys are everywhere. I tell you, the guys do a phenomenal job. O'Reilly Build, Mr. Monsanto over there, Steve, we've had the opportunity to work in Dallas. We've had the opportunity to work in Oklahoma City. Steve is one of the best general contractors, bar none, I've ever worked with. He was so on point, on task, on time, on every function of our build out. He got us in touch with these guys. Does anybody know that's H Design? Love those guys to death, but their logo kills me. So that is H Design Group, architectural firm here in town. Great to work with as well. They partner up with O'Reilly. They're adjacent to each other geographically, so it works out. Really innovative. we love the idea that as we contacted each one of these each one of these support groups, that they all said the same thing. We've never built a bottling plant, but it's not outside our wheelhouse. Find people to partner with in your businesses that are as passionate as you are about your business. And they don't think inside the box. They think outside the box with you. So the guys at Innovate Technology have helped us with our back-end software. They've helped us with our website now. We've engaged them to help on the social media side. Far Better Plumbing, the guys were phenomenal. We build a state-of-the-art bottling facility, and it looks like a brewery on the inside. There's copper piping everywhere. Can't run ozone through copper piping. You have to rip all that stuff out. So Far Better Plumbing stepped it up. Tut Hill Business Tools. Tut Hill, amazing group, shared all of their business tools with us. So I would like to wrap up thanking Secular, C.H. Robinson, Flynn Drilling for everything else. I did have to cut this a little bit short. I apologize. I'm too passionate about this project. So if anybody has any questions after this event, please get with me. I'd love to answer any of your questions. Thank you again to Think Summit for hosting. I really appreciate you guys coming out today, and drink Ozwater.